In this video, we light one of my t-shirts on fire. What up, mini family? Recently, a friend and I decided that we wanted to take a challenge upon ourselves. We wanted to buy a getting started box for the Age of Sigmar game from Games Workshop and see if we could paint it in 2 weeks. Being that I love vampires, I decided to go with the Malignant set and started with the Hex Wraiths. I have an idea that Hex Wraiths are the souls of victims who burned to death, and I wanted that torment to echo in the paint scheme. I swear that I'm totally normal in real life. So I had to figure out how to get a convincing burnt cloth effect quickly. Well, needless to say, we both totally failed the 2-week painting challenge, but I did come up with a pretty nice burnt cloth effect, and I thought I'd share it with you. Now, when trying to achieve any kind of real-life effect, it's always important to look at source material. Now, you can do this the boring way by just Googling it, or you can do it the fun way by creating it yourself. I got my shirt right here. I'm gonna light it on fire and then see what it looks like afterwards. This is gonna be awesome. Let's hope I don't die. Holy shit. It's weird how it's not burning where the gas was. This is not at all what I thought was going to happen. That was awesome, and now all my neighbors think I'm totally psycho. What you'll notice from the burnt cloth is that it's very crispy black around the edge of the burn, and dark brown, and then trails off gradually. There's a bunch of different brown, orange, yellow tones in there too, combined with a dark looking ash. Now that we've studied our homemade source material, let's try to recreate it. In step 1, I took Vallejo tank brown and aggressively and selectively stippled it into the areas around the burn holes. The goal was to get a random pattern to seem more natural. The brush I'm stippling with is simply an old brush that I snipped the ends of the bristles off of with scissors. After this, I tried to build up the strength of the red-brown color by glazing tank brown more closely to the hole. I'm trying to replicate the gradient of brown from darker to lighter the farther it gets away from the hole. I like the Vallejo colors because they seem to have a longer working time than that of Citadels, making something like this much easier. Something to note about weathering is that it can be really easily overdone. I think the important key to weathering is variety because nature varies. What I'm showing you in this video is simply one key to the component of weathering, whereas you could add on additional keys and add additional variety, stuff like dirt on the bottom of their robes or dried blood, etc. In the next step, I took a mixture of tank brown and black and painted very close to the edge of the burn and on the inside of the burn, making sure the application was tight and controlled. Feel free to roughly apply this, maybe with a little bit more stippling to further build up the grungy texture. Step 3 was simply taking some pure black and applying it to the inside of the burn holes. Where the fire burst through the cloth is where the most damage would happen, hence the darkest spots. Finally, let's do some improper glazing. Take some black paint and add so much water that the pigment separates from the medium when you're applying it, and apply it above the burn areas to simulate a burn trail or ash. The separated pigments will look like little dots of burnt cloth caught in the fibers. The next step is applying some Tamiya clear orange with the same stippling brush we used earlier, but you want to wipe off the majority of the paint and apply it pretty sparingly. Just try to add a little color variety and mess with this step. Tamiya Clear also dries glossy, so we'll be hitting it with a matte varnish later to bring it all together. Smack on a little matte finish to tie it all together, and you got yourself a pretty convincing and quickly achieved burnt cloth effect. Now when it comes to weathering, I'm a total noob. This type of technique is totally outside of my comfort zone, so if you feel like you could add to the content of this video, please do so in the comment section below. But speaking of you guys, let's check out the community highlight for this week. This week we have some Field of War tanks from Alex Gluck. What better minis to show off in a video where we're talking about natural effects? Scale modeling guys take these sort of techniques to the next level, and Alex is no exception. Impeccable paint job, Alex. If you want to see pictures of one of your miniatures at the end of one of my videos, check out the description below. If you know someone who's in need of a basic primer on weathering, feel free to share this video with him or her. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing, but more importantly, go paint some minis. Even coat, but if you don't have one, a brush works just fine. Painting. He sculpts mostly for the Nuts Planet sci-fi range and also paints those miniatures as well for the box art. It's really awesome to see his That's Santa May out there in Southfield. My cat is a griefer. Cat's taking a dump and making all kinds of sound. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing, but more importantly, go paint some minis. Crusher, no! Something to note about weathering is that it's really easy to overdo it. I don't know why I'm whispering. www.goodenough.